Moving on to the hijab row from Damoh in Madhya Pradesh. Here a school called Ganga Jamna school, remember, came under the scanner after a poster put up by them showed non-Muslim girls also wearing a hijab. An FIR was registered against the school management in this regard. 3 staff, including the principal, have now been arrested after it came to light via students that they were being forced to wear hijab inside school, amongst other issues. Police have also said the school management has been booked under Section 295, injuring or defiling place of worship with intent to insult the religion of any class, and 506, which is punishment for criminal intimidation, and also under the Juvenile Justice Act. The MP government has also de-recognized the registration of the school for failing to have infrastructure as per recognition rules. Child rights body, the NCPCR, had also alleged that non-Muslim students were being forced to do Muslim prayers and there was an attempt to convert minors. Madhya Pradesh School Education Minister Inder Singh Parmar also ordered the removal of the District Education Officer of Damoh, who had earlier given a clean chit to the school. He was accused of favouring a private school administration. The minister also alleged that the role of the district collector was questionable. There have also been raids conducted on other businesses of the group that ran this school. It has come to light that Ganga Jamuna group also ran a mill and a tobacco factory. So the FIR was registered after 2 students came out and gave statements. Let's take a look at what the students themselves have alleged. They claim that they were being asked to wear or forced to wear the hijab inside school. Students also alleged that they were being asked to recite Muslim prayers. They were even made to remove tilak or kalawa, in other words, Hindu religious symbols. Students say they were being forced to read Urdu as well in this school. Muslim students, they say, get discount in fees. Shockingly, one of the students has also revealed that when they conveyed these issues to their parents ignored the issue. The school principal, Afsa Sheikh, a teacher and a watchman were arrested under relevant sections of the Madhya Pradesh Religious Freedom Act as well. Later, they were produced before the local court, which sent them on judicial remand. Damoh municipality, meanwhile, has issued a notice to Ganga Jamuna school regarding illegal construction in its premises. The school has been given 3 days to respond, failing which the municipality has been asked to demolish the construction. This is regarding a new building constructed and not the original school building in the premises. The big issue, though, we debate in light of what has come to light from Damoh is that is there a blatant misuse of institutions going on, that too in the name of religion.
जहाँ सही दिशा में जा रही है और मध्य प्रदेश में कोई भी फिरका परस्त ताकत होगी, माफिया होगा तो बुलडोजर चलते ही है।
वो लोग हिजाब पहन इंदर जाने दे देते वरना जाने नहीं देते थे और वो लोग उर्दू पढ़वाते थे, उर्दू नहीं बनती थी तो वो लोग मारते थे और वो लोग एक वरनावाज भी करवाते थे।
जब मेरा निकाह 27/1/2004 में हुआ और वही मेरी मर्जी से हुआ, किसी का दबाव नहीं था। स्कूल का तो बिल्कुल नाम जो लिया जा रहा है, बार बार मीडिया ले रही, हाजी सर का इसमें कोई रोल नहीं है।
We've seen all kinds of hijab rows erupting, not just, of course, in Karnataka. There was recently one in Srinagar as well. But this is a very different kind of a case and it throws up very interesting questions. Let me take them to Saira Shah Halim, who's an author and activist joining us. Karuna Gopal is a political analyst, and also Desh Ratan Nigam, who's a political analyst, leans towards the RSS. You know, this is one of those cases, Desh Ratan Nigam, let me begin with you. It opens that fundamental question that whether, even if the school is, let's say, a minority institution, is it fair for them to practice certain religious practices in a manner which makes it almost impossible for non-Muslim students in this case to refuse to abide by that, because then the school would wake up tomorrow and say that if you don't want it, then don't come and study in this school. It's almost the exact reverse of what has happened in Karnataka over the hijab row. There, the girls were insisting that even though there's a uniform and it's a secular institution run by the government, they should be allowed to wear the hijab because it's their religious belief and education should not suffer because of that. A lot of activists made that statement that if it is hijab versus education, let the girls study in those schools. What is the big deal if there's a hijab? Now, here's an exactly opposite case where a school is forcing non-Muslim girls to wear a hijab. And my fear is that if you impose certain rules, they'll just wake up one day and say, okay, if you don't want it, then don't come to our school.
Certainly. In fact, Shivani, if you compare the Karnataka issue with the Damoh issue, then the hypocrisy of the so-called liberals and some of the minority leaders is clearly exposed. And this particular school was also receiving grants from this government also. So therefore, it becomes under the law a public institution, not a minority institution, because once you receive a grant, you are amenable to the writ jurisdiction, because writ jurisdiction of the courts are issued for public authorities or which are directly or indirectly public authorities. Yeah. Since the taxpayers' money was going into this was not an absolute minority school. So hence the government rules and regulations would apply. And then people say it was a scarf. A scarf is not worn like this.
No, that's absolutely wrong. You're right. I discussed this last week and I was actually shocked. Let me take, Yogita Behana is also joining us, women's activist. Saira, I was also shocked that a lot of people try to pass this off as a headscarf. Now we'll run those pictures again, and I'm sorry to say this is not a headscarf by any stretch of imagination. But is this not wrong to force non-Muslim girls to wear a hijab? Saira Shah Halim, that question.
Is this question towards me?
Yes, Saira Shah Halim, that was for you. Please go ahead.
So, hi. So firstly, I'd like to make it very clear that I think the principal has already put out a statement that headgear is not compulsory. Scarf is part of the uniform. Now, the thing is that here, according to the various articles that are floating on the net, it is alleged that right-wing organizations have made the complaint that the girls are being forced to wear the hijab because the class 12 poster came out, and that is the reason these right-wing outfits basically got behind the school. Now, whatever reputation we've heard about the school, I think the students do fairly well. Some of them are even toppers of class 12, and so far the parents have not had any complaint. Now, it is very clear that elections in Madhya Pradesh is around the corner, and as usual, BJP is flaring up a communal issue and trying to maximize and trying to polarize society by flaring up and trying to instigate.
Okay, but I just want to run those pictures once again. You can raise the issue about whether this is some right-wing conspiracy and all, but let's face it, Karuna Gopal, fundamentally, this issue came to light because this poster came to light. And this poster is not false. The school put up this poster. In this poster, it is very clear non-Muslim girls are wearing a hijab. It is not a headscarf by any stretch of imagination. And then there are school students themselves who have come out to say that they were being forced to wear it, that they couldn't enter or wouldn't be allowed to sit in classes if they didn't wear it. One of the school students is saying that the teachers, the bada teacher and the bada headmaster said that isko pehenna chahiye kyunki ye maryada hai. Now, schools are not institutions to impose maryada like this. This is appalling.
No, I agree that it should
Saira, this is for, one second, Saira, this is for Karuna Gopal. Yes.
Yeah, so Shivani, I'm not able to see the screen, but I don't know who the other person was before me. She said something about polarization. She talked about Madhya Pradesh going in for polls, but you know the reality, right? I mean, we in Madhya Pradesh, we don't have to play these kind of games at all. I think Madhya Pradesh is quite safe, and they have been historically with us, with BJP. And if you really have to look at the numbers, I think the Muslim population is quite marginal, 6%, which means that we really don't have to play these games. So that let's bury that question.
Okay.
Well, the second one is, it is true, it is highly appalling to see that these kids have been somehow coaxed, cajoled, maybe forced. We really don't know, but they somehow seem to be, wearing those attires. And from what we have seen earlier, it's a very a subtle way of influencing. Like, I would say that there is an ulterior motive. There perhaps is conversion motive behind all this, at the using the facade of education and using their institutional strength as well. So just like how we've seen in Kerala story, it's very easy for people to succumb to peer pressure. It's very easy for students to emulate others around them, and maybe they very unwittingly participated in all those recitations and etc., the prayers.
Yeah. I forgot to mention, they have, of course, come on record to also say they were being forced to recite Muslim prayers, I think verses from the Quran, etc. Why is that required? And wouldn't Muslim students, for example, object if the opposite was the case? It's only natural.
Absolutely. I mean, they would, you can't even imagine the kind of hell that this country would see if anything of that nature has been done, even a little bit. So even today, for instance, the question of, minority rights, and I mean, by what means 250 million is minority, I still fail to understand. But this subliminal kind of influence is very dangerous.
Okay,
Shivani.
Let me take
extremely dangerous.
Let me take that to Yogita. Let me take that to Yogita Bayana. I'll come to the issue of what the parents ideally should have done in this case, or the parents are also willfully neglecting what is happening because they don't have a choice. I'll come to that question in just a bit. But Yogita, it is a problem. Fundamentally, people don't look at this issue as people for whom it suits, and they want to rubbish this as polarization or religious communal issues. But fundamentally, in a plural country, you will have clashes, you will have lack of faith and clashes between communities if there is such obvious ways in which one religion is being imposed on members of another religion. That is what the fundamental issue here is. If a non-Muslim was made to do something that was Hindu or any other religion, it would create a problem. But why is it that when it's Hindu girls, then it almost seems like it's not a big issue?
Shivani, I don't know from which angle you are trying to divert this whole issue of education. The parents themselves must be having that compulsion to send their children, to send their daughters into the same school, because fundamentally in this country, we are not working on the education. We are really, even this lady, Karuna, is discussing about Kerala story, and you are just trying to suppress one religion. You're just trying to make Muslims look so bad, including your channel. It is so shameful that we are still discussing these things, and you're trying to say that, it was other way around. What have you done to minorities? I'm so sorry. I'm a Hindu, but I feel so sad for my Muslim brothers and sisters, because what is the atmosphere right now here? You are doing so much damage and clashes. You are trying.
I don't understand why, if I talk about these girls who are minor girls. One second.
You sitting as a journalist,
Yogita, just calm down for a second. I think the only person who is very agitated is you. It is nobody else. The only person, I don't understand.
Raising my finger on you,
okay, finally, Yogita. Okay, Yogita, just calm down. Yeah, clashes have been happening before I was a journalist. Clashes have been happening in this country before Karuna Gopal was born. Please don't blame us for what are fault lines in our communities. Yogita, I'm being patient with you. Just calm down, please.
You are criminals.
Okay, can you please lower her fader? What I was asking was, don't take her off air. Please keep her on air. What I was asking was that why is it that we can argue about Muslim girls' rights to wear hijab in secular institutions funded by the government and it is okay. But I can't raise the question of why is a private institution that is taking fees from the students forcing non-Muslim girls, as alleged, to wear a hijab. And that poster is crystal clear. Nobody is making this up. Okay, the school put up this poster. Yeah, let me just go to Desh Ratan Nigam. Desh Ratan Nigam, the other thing that has also come to light in this case is the role of the parents themselves. Is it lack of education, understanding, or is it nonchalant behavior by them that they feel that they don't need to worry about this? Because fundamentally, it's likely that the parents were aware of this.
See, Shivani, the fact is parents are fearful what will happen to their students and wards once they oppose it. And therefore, they prefer to remain quiet. It must have taken immense amount of courage for those girls who have come out and spoken. because I'm sure the schools will discriminate, the particular school will discriminate against them. I'm sure they have to study somewhere else. And secondly, you break the law, you compel non-Muslim students to wear hijab and recite prayers from Quran, and then you play a victim card. This is what is happening with the entire, cabal which is happening, or the seculars which are there, and people, you have some of them, you have it on the channel also, and along with me, but they will play a victim card. They are not going to, in a secular country, you can't compel anybody. And therefore, don't interfere. I'm not indisciplined like you.
Because
No, you then you are an agent of that school. Then you are an agent of that school that you are interfering. So it's better. You are an advocate. Array, you will speak like a stupid person.
Okay, let's not turn this into a match between you two. Let's have each an opportunity to speak and express their mind. Yes, Deshattam. Saira ji, I'm coming to you. Deshattam, please finish your point.
Shivani, difficulty is they don't want to listen to anybody.
No, my only difficulty is, anybody who sits here and tries and project that there are riots happening in this country between Hindus and Muslims.
Because you are doing it.
Yogita, can you please show basic courtesy and listen to the other side? You're on a debate. Just show basic courtesy, listen to me, then I'll give you an opportunity to respond. I'll give you an opportunity to respond. Just kindly. Now she's going to Kerala story. Okay, anyways, just keep her muted. I'll give her an opportunity when I can. My point is this. Fundamentally, anybody who comes and says that, since 2014 there's riots happening in this country, or there is riots happening because of media coverage, I'm sorry to say I'm not going to take this fake burden of this. Riots between Hindus and Muslims have been happening in this country since pre-independence.
Absolutely.
All right? It didn't happen because of the media. It didn't happen because of me or anybody else. And they happened because of the reasons they happened. And I am not one of those people who's going to shut my eyes to that. It is as simple as that. Let no one blame me for this. Anyways, Saira Shah Halim, you wanted to come in.
Can I complete?
Yeah. Okay, Deshattam Nigam. Saira, sorry. Yeah. Let him just finish for 10-15 seconds. I'll come to you.
Yeah. See, therefore, when people start talking about...
Saira, I'll come to you. Deshattam Nigam, please finish 30 seconds.
So the
difficulty when people talk about riots, they forget about the statistic, the preponderance of riots prior to 2014 and subsequently.
Anyways, let's not go there. Let's stick to this subject.
So I'm still on the subject. I was saying that the amount of immense courage that these girls who have come out against this particular school and spoken, where they were discriminated against, they were forced to, remove whatever the symbols of Kalava or Tilak they had worn, and they were forced to recite Quran. This cannot be permitted. This cannot be permitted under any circumstances.
Okay.
And therefore,
let's just keep in mind, though, these are allegations that have been made. Initially, it seemed like the state bureaucracy was giving a clean sheet to the school, but then the student statements came out. That is also the power of the media. Saira Shah Halim, I just want to point out. One second, please, one by one. Saira Shah Halim now. Saira, the other thing I wanted to point out. One second. The other thing I wanted to point out is that actually one of the students has also alleged that Muslim students get a discount on fees. Now, is that not, as Karuna Gopal said, subliminal messaging to convert? If you are, doing this in the name of religion and distinguishing between your students. Go ahead.
So Shivani, I think I need to enlighten the panel here that even in Catholic schools, a lot of Christian girls or even people who cannot afford are given discounts. I'll be very clear. And here again, I will talk about how the state has accused the school of carrying out religious conversion, which is wrong. Because all the 3 faculty members who are women have said that they were not converted.
Yes, they have said they have not been converted because of the school.
They changed their faith.
That's a separate charge. That's not related to this.
Let me please finish. So this whole conversion theory is completely bogus because the women themselves who have changed their faith clearly said that they got married and they changed their faith. They did not convert. They did not convert by force.
Yes, you're right. So let me just clarify this issue. For the benefit of our viewers. There are some faculty members. Saira, please yield. I have limited time. There are some faculty members who are converts who are working in this school. They have come out to say, the ladies have come out to say that they have not converted because of pressure of the school. They did it as adults whenever they did it. But the separate charge against the school is that as far as the young minors are concerned, there are alleged conversion tactics being used. That's a charge that has come in by a separate body, but we don't know if that is being investigated or not. We actually don't know that as of now. But Karuna Gopal, I have final 30 seconds left. Precisely the issue with discussing these issues is that, you know, it's okay to talk about insistence of hijab in government schools. Then it becomes a fundamental right, it becomes a right of education. Think about their girls' educations. But in this case, it is okay if you don't discuss it. And if you discuss it, then you are a riot monger. That's even worse.
So, I know that is the irony of this country and the secular facade that we maintain. I think this is what is leading to all kinds of problems. Today, for instance, I'm really not shocked to see a panelist who claims to be a Hindu but is fighting very vociferously for the other side. So if the country has many of them who are doing this overtly and covertly, so we will encounter more and more problems. And I'd like to say that it's nothing to do with politics. It's pervasive. It's a pan-India phenomenon. It's a pan-world phenomenon. One has to be really vigilant, and one has to really maybe stop this kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but this kind of schizophrenic behavior, so that eventually all of us will somehow try to kind of find peace. You know, this kind of overt and covert behaviors are very, very dangerous for this country, especially when we are on the threshold of growth and we are kind of geopolitically, you know.
The other thing I will say vociferously is another thing is this, and I asked this question to one of our guests. In a plural society, if you've got conversion tactics going on, I'm not saying the school was doing it. Let's see what the investigation reveals. But if you've got conversion tactics going on and there is enough evidence of that, historically, not just today, not just last year, not just 2 years ago, that's going to be a problem. Let's not pretend that proselytization is not going to cause problems in society. It will, and all sides need to respect each other. That's the only way that this can be stopped. Otherwise, you cannot blame one side for speaking up when there are sides that are proselytizing in your face. And I'm not going to be an apologist for proselytization in a country like India.
No one should be.
No one should be. On that note, I'll thank our guests for joining us. We'll follow the story and see how it goes further. Certainly an investigation is going on. Time for a very short break. Coming up on the other side, Gujarat is gearing up for cyclone Biparjoy. A high alert has been issued by the authorities, and CNN News 18 gets you the latest as far as the preparations on ground is concerned.